This film tourist segment, is he just green screening? Now I just want to watch him green screen himself and stuff.
I think this is the second one, so there's at least one more.
He's creating this like cinematic universe.
Yeah, where Jared is in
Stanley.
and somebody comes out and confirms that this is all canon.
Yeah, exactly.
Jared is in the picture at the end of The Shining somewhere.
Now they got to collaborate with Film Theory, so Film Theory can do a video on how Jared is the link. We took it all.
And then when you go back on Movie Fights, you can pitch the Jared show.
There we go.
And get all the different movie characters. You don't even have to be the MCU anymore. It's perfect.
Hey, Reject Nation, I'm Greg Alba.
John Old is my name.
No, John, come on.
John Humphrey.
No,
I'm
dude.
Jared from Wisecrack.
We're doing the Shining video.
Yeah. Oh, here's John Humphrey.
Here's Johnny.
We're going to watch from Wisecrack Why the Shining Creeps Us Out, Kubrick in Perspective. I'm not too familiar with Wisecrack, actually. I hear they're an amazing film channel.
I do enjoy Wisecrack a lot.
Over at our Patreon, we do TV show reactions for many shows, including weekly Q&As. One of our top reward tiers is whatever video you request, we must definitely cover. Usually a reaction. No one has faith in our discussions just off of a brainstorm talk. Especially David Gandy, who drove 6 hours to come to a live event and listen to us talk for an hour and a half. Like, nah, I'm only interested in hearing you talk if it's about a video you do a reaction to. I'm not going to give you some topic to cover. David, I hope you know we're only joking.
I'm not. I've been serious this whole time.
Let's watch this video.
Woo!
John knows this. My dream casting for Solid Snake is Jack Nicholson. Just so you can go, Metal Gear.
It's been years since I've heard you do that.
Metal Gear.
And my inner child is singing Enjoy.
Otacon.
What's up, guys? Pilot season continues at Wisecrack. So last month we piloted a show called The Film Tourist. It was on The Wolf of Wall Street. If you haven't seen that one yet, be sure to check it out. This is the second episode in that series. This one is on The Shining. Before we get to it, this video is sponsored by Movie, a curated online cinema streaming exceptional films from around the globe.
Movie.
So you can get your 30-day free trial at movie.com/wisecrack. And on with the show.
Sounds interesting. Might actually check that out.
Okay.
Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, or the world's most persuasive argument for taking the stairs. This movie scares the shit out of everyone. But why?
Except Stephen King. It's because
It's hard to say what
Whoa!
exactly is wrong with this place. Is it haunted? Is it all in their heads? Is it possessed by the devil? Tony? Something about an Indian burial ground?
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of traditional
And he dressed
horror
for the
gives us
part.
an easy-to-understand reason to shit our pants, The Shining deliberately avoids an easily describable premise. And this is part of what makes it so damn horrifying. It deprives us of logical explanation. Kubrick accomplishes this in a variety of ways, but I'm here at the Overlook Hotel.
Whoa!
One of the most surprisingly
This is cooler than Ready Player One.
One of the most effective ways to create a strong sense of perspective is
Wow,
the way a
dude.
shot is framed and sequenced. See, a shot can be objective, subjective, or fall somewhere in between.
Okay.
Purely objective shots show us a scene as it is, a God's eye point of view, as if we're eavesdropping or watching a play. Subjective angles directly insert us into the action, showing the view from, just beside, or behind a character. Purely subjective shots take us directly into the eyes of a character.
That's cool.
Usually by showing their face first, followed by their visual perspective or emotional experience.
Pav?
Can also invite us to question what we're seeing,
is
like
Pav?
an unreliable narrator in literature. In this scene, we see a shot of Danny's face, then a cut to the girls, then Danny's face again. With this simple sequence of shots, we're being shown the events through Danny's mind. Let's see how Kubrick takes this basic principle of perspective
Dude,
to create
that's
an
so
indescribable
cool.
I know.
supernatural feeling.
And he's always in the bathroom.
Consider the famous scene of Danny riding his tricycle through the hotel's winding corridors. All right, Danny, give me some skin. Using a state-of-the-art piece of equipment for the time,
awesome.
Kubrick is able to achieve supernaturally smooth movements to follow Danny, showing
cool.
us the hotel from a child's point of view.
I want to get like a glide
We
cam.
follow Danny in a traditional subjective shot that emphasizes his experience navigating a large maze-like hotel. But we don't follow him perfectly. Watch how the camera lingers after he's left frame, and then hurries to catch up with him. One film scholar calls this the wandering camera because the camera ambles along like its own sentient being, or here, an imagined monster stalking Danny through the halls. This creates the sense the hotel is alive and watching Danny through his shitty vacation. When the twins show up, we move more intimately into a subjective sequence of Danny's POV, flashing between his bloody visions. Danny covers his eyes, looks again, and now they're gone. So perhaps the girls are just in his head? By starting with Danny's point of view as we follow him, but then shifting to a possible camera monster's point of view, and then back to Danny's maybe unreliable own vision, the film undermines our ability to interpret the events in front of us. Whose point of view is this? Danny's, the hotel, some demon? Now let's consider Jack. Is all this creepy stuff in his head too? Did someone just spike the water with LSD in this otherwise normal hotel?
Happens to me all the time.
Take this scene in the apparently empty gold ballroom. In this scene, we go from a close-up of Jack as he seemingly addresses an invisible being to the reveal shot of Lloyd. This subjective sequencing of shots could suggest that Jack is hallucinating, and just when we're sure that this is all a subjective delusion, Kubrick moves the camera backward over his shoulder, taking the shot from his direct point of view to a more objective one. From there, Kubrick gives the scene an objective reality by showing both characters in a shot together. Lloyd's the real deal, we think, until Wendy shows up and the ballroom's suddenly empty and we're left totally confused and creeped out. So, what's going on? We don't know, and the camera work makes sure we'll never find out. Now, at times, Jack's point of view even seems to merge with that of the imagined predator that was following Danny. In this shot, Jack's view looking down on the model hedge maze blends into an aerial view of his family wandering through the actual hedges. This effect happens again as he chases Danny in the final scene. See how the same kind of shot that used to be stalking Danny through the halls has now mingled with Jack's point of view, further confounding the various supernatural elements of the film. When not using point of view to screw with reality, Kubrick also uses our perception of physical space to creep us out. How do you make a huge, otherwise normal hotel and present it as a claustrophobic nightmare? Kubrick is famous for what is called one-point perspective, which adds to the cramped feel. With one-point perspective, near-perfect symmetry draws the audience's eye to the one vanishing point at the center of the frame, giving the sensation that we're being drawn into the shot, which is further enhanced by the tracking shot inward. It feels uneasy, like the walls are collapsing inwards.
Hereditary.
That's why even though the Overlook Hotel seems like a spacious setting, we feel increasingly cramped as the movie goes on. Almost like
claustrophobic reaction, which can occur when people are shut in together over a long period of time.
By juxtaposing large spaces with much smaller ones, Kubrick is able to get the viewer to feel really claustrophobic. This starts with the opening shot of the mountain, which cuts to the shot of the family, clown car style. Then we move from the large sweeping hotel lobby to the Torrance's small hotel quarters. While the hotel may be large, the Torrances are trapped in increasingly smaller spaces within it.
Very, homey.
Eventually, Jack ends up locked in a fridge, Danny escapes through a tiny window, and nobody has any elbow room. Through these tricks and perspective, Stanley Kubrick is able to add a layer of creepiness that evades simple description. And that's why The Shining is so great. And why film nerds will continue to talk about it for years to come. There's so much more to talk about in The Shining, so if you like this video, let us know if you want us to do another, and as always, thanks for watching. Peace. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that. We got a couple more coming out before the end of the year. So this episode is brought to you by Movie. For those of you who listen to our movie podcast, you know that Movie has been gracious enough to support us there as well. And because of them, we're able to continue making episodes of The Film Tourist. So Movie is a curated online cinema that focuses on prestige films, festival hits, and beloved classics. There are always 30 perfectly curated movies on the site. Every day they present a new film, and every day they take one away. Movie's a really great way to discover international directors you might not be exposed to otherwise. Recently, Movie has been featuring the works of Hong Kong filmmaker Johnny To, who's famous for making really awesome gangster films. I watched the film Triad Election in college, and it catapulted my love for Hong Kong cinema. That movie is playing now on Movie, along with other Johnny To films like Mad Detective and Vengeance.
It's one of the best
like gangster movies, you're gonna love Johnny
videos
To.
I've seen in a long time.
I know, right? Like the craftsmanship.
And
I mean, like, I've seen a number of their videos, but this was next level. Like,
you can try Movie for free through them?
This
is the most I've ever responded to a product placement.
it's a great ad. Let's sign up.
Ad, man. I think I'm sold on this movie shit right here.
Use your link and everything. Thanks, Wisecrack.
Like, they're talking about a movie, I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. One of my problems with Netflix and shit is like, I'm just too many options. I end up not choosing anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, 30, and they're like handpicked, and they're considered prestige, awesome films.
There's a pretty good range between like classics and new stuff.
Yeah, and they switch them out every day. Oh, that's pretty sweet. And 30-day trials, like, it's working on me.
Well done, Wisecrack. You are killing the game.
Congratulations, Wisecrack. I'm gonna go sign up for Movie. So the sentient camera trick, is that like in Evil Dead, when the camera is the famous camera shot in Evil Dead, or like when it's in the house and Ash is knocking over everything? Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like a little film school that we have here. The whole time I watch this video, I just kept thinking Hereditary borrowed everything from this movie.
Took all the notes.
Of what's made The Shining work. And applied it.
Wide spaces versus claustrophobic spaces, and 1 point focus and all that stuff. Yeah. One thing I've always appreciated about Wisecrack is they do break stuff down. I'm used to them being more philosophical about things, so on this coin it's nice to see them doing something that's like a micro film school, because you've heard The Shining broken down 1,000 times, but to actually focus in on the camera work and the look and the way the tone of the movie is making us feel, because that's a good point. Like, it's kind of hard to describe The Shining for what makes it what it is and for what makes it so effective, and I thought they did a really good breakdown of that.
Holy shit, anytime he appeared inside of the movie,
yeah, man,
I was like, I guess it's not that big of a deal. Ready Player One.
Taking Spielberg a peg down.
Yeah, I'm like, I thought that was wildly impressive in Ready Player One. But if this YouTube channel can do it, whoa, it must not be too challenging. There was a split second where my mind wandered off going, but could you do that green screen effect with like a Paul Greengrass movie?
Could you
actually? Yeah, because I imagine that'd be way harder to do.
Horrible to map all that.
Yeah, because there's so many of the frames here are very still or like very fluid, so it's easier to be in frame.
Yeah, and you do have, I don't know from experience doing it, but from what I do know, it seems like it's difficult to insert somebody into a wide angle if it's moving at all. Yeah. So like somebody like Kubrick who keeps things pretty locked off for certain shots. Yeah. Because I was thinking about that too. I was like, he's posed in ways that fit the angles and stuff.
Yeah, it looks like he's there on set.
Yeah, like in this video, I don't know how much time this took, but I assume that a good amount of craftsmanship and ingenuity had to go into this.
Yeah, I feel like out of all these, physical space is the one that I'm not even sure if you might be able to categorize in a lot of movies a shot that is physical space. Are the directors actually thinking that, or does it just happen to be physical space?
Yeah.
It just naturally, if you're shooting in places, you're gonna sometimes just make a shot that's physical space,
They taught us always in film school, they're like, every shot has to have a plan and a design, and I'm firmly of the mind that, yes, some of them do, and some of them are probably just kind of self-conscious decisions that you had to make in a pinch.
Yeah.
That are just in uniform with the overall tone. See, the thing about Kubrick is, like, I would not be surprised at all if every one of these shots was intentionally choosing each one of these techniques and aspects.
Oh, God, yeah. I doubt any of this was like...
Kubrick comes in, he's like, what? This is not what we agreed upon. Frame this up. I want it symmetrical.
Yeah.
What the f*** are you doing?
Kubrick was known to be like, we're going to do this take 50 times.
We're going to make Scatman Crothers cry today.
Like, he was nuts when it came to being a perfectionist. Have you seen Eyes Wide Shut? Classic. The 1 point perspective, that's like all up in Hereditary. I just kept thinking of Hereditary.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because that is similarly visually crafted, and it has that similar quality of like so much of the movie is like really deliberate, and there are a lot of camera motions that seem very composed and very choreographed and very intentional. That's another movie where it seems like nothing is just thrown out there.
And speaking of like objective and subjective shooting, it makes me flash to the movie AI, because Spielberg loves to shoot in the master frame. He loves to use the objective framing. You choose where you want to look. You're peering in on them, you know? And Kubrick was originally supposed to do AI.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Haley Joel Osment dodged a bullet there. That poor kid.
So watching this video and thinking about like, well, yes, Kubrick is known to do a lot of this type of stylistic choices. It makes me think about how Spielberg primarily uses the objective.
Not so much this approach. AI would have been a very different movie. I get the sense that while Steven Spielberg is also a craftsman, I don't think he's anywhere near as anal about these kinds of things.
When I think of POV, I usually just think of that shot, first person point of view. What I thought was neat was breaking down how fluidly Kubrick can put you into the person's POV without doing first person point of view, you know,
to just suggest it
by how he cuts it. I thought that sequence at the bar was great, like just focusing on Jack Nicholson, watch his expression light up, cut to the guy at the bar, and then pull the camera back. That way it's like you're kind of deciding for yourself right there, but then you eventually realize that it is that. But or even when he's seeing the girls, how Danny, by the way, who I think is one of the most underrated child performances in film history.
Yeah, serious.
I feel like whenever people talk about like great child performances, no one really brings up this kid. When anytime I watch this movie, I'm like, this kid feels so real.
And for the strange stuff he's got to do for the world, like it's still
it
feels
seems
totally
like a
natural.
real kid, and he seems genuinely. It's more than just act scared, you know. Like he seems like an actual.
He doesn't seem like an actor kid.
No, he seems like a real kid. Knowing how to transplant you through editing a certain type of visual storying of getting into their POV, like switching in and out of perspectives throughout the film, which I never. Like, I'll be honest, most of this I never really was able to pick up on and put into words for The Shining. Well, so watching this video is like, that's pretty informative shit.
Oh, yeah, well, because part of the point, too, is that if the movie's doing its job right, you're not supposed to notice or be thinking about those things. It's only in the going back and, fine-tooth combing it. There's so many things that make a movie like this effective. I mean, there's music, there are performances, there's production design, there are, story elements that are scary. I really appreciated the way they highlighted how so much of the technical side of the movie, the construction and especially the camera choices, help to make the movie what it is and as scary as it is and as palpable and tense as it is. Because you do realize that like they are effortlessly kind of transitioning you into different kinds of scenes. That scene at the bar, you start out one way and then you kind of transition into another approach to shooting that scene. And I feel like that's kind of how you hopefully would break down a script, especially if you have a long dialogue scene. You choose how you want to shoot the different parts of it. It really seems like they were able to fluidly kind of concoct all this.
Well, Wisecrack, this is like a necessary video for aspiring filmmakers, I think.
Man.
Like this is brilliant. Thank you, Wisecrack. Thanks for telling me about Mubi.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
You guys can subscribe to Wisecrack. Oh, thanks David Gandy for recommending this.
Yeah, really.
By the way, David Gandy, I don't know if you guys know this. You don't. This mofo has been doing Taekwondo lately. Ooh. Correct me if I'm wrong, David. Right now, I believe I suggested Taekwondo, and you like ended up taking it on.
Oh my god!
And now he's like been testing and stuff, and he's going like 5 days a week.
That means he has to call you sensei,
right?
He has to.
Yeah.
You were the one who gave him the push.
But I'm sexually abusive. That's my problem.
Well. Yeah, you gotta clear that up. You can't be a sensei if you're gonna be doing that shit. Unless you're Johnny Lawrence.
Those senseis are out.
Yeah. We don't fuck with that anymore.
You can't make jokes anymore. Guys, subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell. Check us out on the internet. Bye.